Got to do something about the lights. Here, hold on. Once again, well, here we are. And once again, we are totally unprepared because of the demands of the world. Left us completely unprepared. Hobbies. Oh, well, anyway, so. What lights do we want to? This one. Blinded by the light. Can't turn it. God dang it. Jesus. Take the whole fixture down. Can't get the bulb out. Right across the room. More frustration. More things that don't go right. More hassle. More. Just more and more. Never ends. Always some little thing to torque my britches. That's a little better, but still got some glare. So, here we go. We're totally unprepared. But we're here anyway to do this, like we promised. We're here doing it every Sunday, one way or the other. We're going to make it happen. Atlas Shrugged. It's so important. It's so important that people get to understand the concept. The concept of what's actually being conveyed here. Okay, here we go. Okay, so as we left, it was Dagny Tagner. It was just coming in. There, she was riding a train headed to the New York terminal. So here we go. Look at my goofy hair. There, that's better. Okay, so now we start out with the male narrator voice. With the first whistling of shake out the and get this coffee cup to get at it. Okay. With the first whistling rush of air as the comet plunged into the tunnels of the Taggart terminal under the city of New York. Dagny, hold on, I'm going to start over here. Let me go forward to the next set of dots. We're going to go to the next episode 4. Ooh, this is a long one. Oh yeah, because it ends at the next chapter, the chain. Okay, so this will close out episode 4. We'll close out this chapter. Okay. With the first whistling rush of air as the comet plunged into the tunnels of the Dagner. See what I mean? Swipe. All right, start over again. Okay. With the first whistling rush of air, as the comet plunged into the tunnels of the Taggart Terminal under the city of New York. Come on. Come on. Get together here. Get it together. Okay. Okay. Start over again. That cover's going to need to be patched up. Okay, starting over again for the fourth time. With the first whistling rush of air as the comet plunged into the tunnels of the Taggart. See? Okay. Taggart. With the first whistling rush of air. With the first whistling rush of air. Get it right, bitch. Okay. And where are you going? Just because I get frustrated. Huh? Okay, here we go. Yeah, the waggy tail, huh? There, what are you looking all sad about? Huh? Don't turn that way. Okay, Beans. What? What, honey? You want to sit up here with me? Come on. Come on, get up here with me. Come on. 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 You can do it. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. Come on. You can do it. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. Come on, you can do it. It's okay, you can do it. Come on. Come on. There you go. Yeah. Oh, and turn around where you're comfy. You're not pointing the right way here. Uh-huh. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so you ready to read with me? You're going to make it go better? We're going to go good? You're sitting here? Okay, let's try. Okay. With the first whistling rush of air as the comet plunged into the tunnels of the Taggart Terminal under the city of New York. Dagny Taggart sat up straight. She always felt it when the train went under the ground, this sense of eagerness, of hope, and of secret excitement. It was as if normal existence were a photograph of shapeless things in the badly printed colors. Yeah, in badly printed colors. But this was a sketch done in a few sharp strokes that made things seem clean, important, and worth doing. She watched the tunnels as they flowed past bare walls of concrete, a net of pipes and wires, a web of rails that went off into black holes where green and red lights hung as distant drops of color. There was nothing else, nothing to dilute it, so that one could admire naked purpose and the ingenuity that had achieved it. She thought of the Taggart building standing above her head at this moment, growing straight to the sky. And she thought, these are the roots of the building, hollow roots twisting under the ground, feeding the city. When the train stopped, she got off and heard the concrete of the platform under her feet. She felt light, lifted, impelled to action. She started off walking fast, as if the speed of her steps could give form to the things she felt. As it was a It was a few moments before she realized that she was whistling a piece of music and that it was the theme of Haley's Fifth Concerto. She felt someone looking at her and turned. The young brakeman stood watching her tensely. Really? Oh, that was the next dot. That was it? That was episode 4. Oh my, that's I missed this. How did I do that? Short dots. That was actually shorter. We're going to go on. Episode 4 continues. We're going to skip the dots. That was too short. She sat on the arm of the big chair facing James Taggart's desk. Her coat thrown over. Her coat. Okay, I'm going to try this. Okay. Okay. Her coat thrown open over a wrinkled traveling suit. Eddie Willard sat across the room, making notes once in a while. His title, that was of special assistant to the vice president in charge of operation, and his main duty was to be her bodyguard against any waste of time. She asked him to be present at interviews of this nature because when she never had to explain anything to him, I said when instead of then, because then she never had to explain anything to him afterwards. Stupid dyslexia, I hate it. James Taggart sat at his desk, his head drawn into his shoulders. The real naughty line is a pile of junk from one end to the other. Oh, that's her talking. Yeah, see, this is really difficult. You got to go ahead, way ahead. You got to get time to prepare. And the stupid things the world wants from me takes my time. Stupid repairs that other people could be doing. But oh, please come to me. Please do it for me. Nobody else will do it for free. Yeah, that's how that goes. So I don't get time to prepare. I don't even get the time to read the thing ahead of time if I'm going to read it live, So I got to go cold with the thing, It disturbed the hell out of me. I don't get to do what I want to do because other people want me doing what they think I ought to be doing and beg me to do it till my soft heart gives in. And that's it. I need to learn to say no. I need to just tell them all no. Tell the whole world to screw off, so I can do what pleases me, right, Sabrina? Right. And that what's important is what pleases you. That's really what's important. Doing what you love in your heart, doing what you feel good about. And I felt, there was a time I felt good when I'd fix somebody's stuff. Fix their thing because they needed it fixed and there was no one else around to do it. And that made me feel good. But anymore, I don't feel good about it anymore because people use me and use me and use me and I got this. I can't stand it anymore. Used up. See what? And then you know what the real shame is? The real shame is this one right here. This innocent soul gets so afraid just from that simple tone of voice because I exude so much negative energy out, from the negativity that was imposed upon me. You know, oh, do this job, man, I can't pay you. Oh, I can't pay you till next week, then you never get paid. Oh, I can't, man, next week I can be paid. Then you never get paid. It's like, oh, you were 10 seconds late on your on your contract, so I'm not gonna pay you. Your last third. Main source of my frustration and anger, right there. The main source is humanity. Everybody, all of you out there that say, oh, please, nobody else can do it. Nobody else will do it for free. You do it for free. Please, Jesus, please. The real naughty line is a piece of junk from one end to the other. Of course, said James Taggart. Can you get back up here? You get up here and then all you want to do is get down. You're wagging your tail. You want something? What do you want, Beans? Huh? What? You just want attention? You're just wagging your tail because I'm talking? Huh? Yeah, because I'm talking to you? Okay, try again. Here we go. Yeah, okay, so now just trying to figure out whose voice is whose here. Okay. So let's start with Dagny. Okay, here. So I really do need to script this. Anyway, just I need to script it for myself to make it easier. Go through ahead of time and break it down. Whose voice is whose. Okay, so here we go. But the real naughty line is a pile of junk from one end to the other, she said. It's much worse than I thought. But we're going to save it. Of course, said James Taggart. Some of the rail can be salvaged. Not much, not for long. We'll start laying new rail. We'll start laying new rail in the mountain sections. Colorado first. We'll get the new rail in 2 months. Oh, did Orrin Boyle say he'll... I've ordered the rail from Reardon Steel. The slight choke sound from Eddie Willer's... Oh, that's Eddie Willers she's talking to. I'm thinking... Oh, no, okay, this is a scenario in the room. Okay. The slight, choked sound from Eddie Willers was his suppressed desire to cheer. James Taggart did not answer at once. "Dagny, why don't you sit in the chair as one is supposed to?" he said at last. His voice was petulant. "Nobody holds business in this way." "I do." She waited. He asked, his eyes avoiding hers. Did you say that you have ordered the rail from Reardon?" "Yesterday evening. I phoned from Cleveland." But the board hasn't authorized it. But the board hasn't authorized it yet. I haven't authorized it. And you haven't consulted me." She reached over, picked up the receiver of a telephone on his desk, and handed it to him. "Call Reardon and cancel it," she said. James Taggart moved back in his chair. "I haven't said that." He angrily answered. "I haven't said that at all." "Then it stands." "I haven't said that either." She turned. "Eddie, have them draw up a contract with Reardon Steel. Jim will sign it." She took a crumpled piece of notepaper from her pocket and tossed it to Eddie. "There's the figures and terms." Oh. There we go. Taggart said, "But the board hasn't..." "The board hasn't anything to do with it. They authorized you to buy the rail 13 months ago. Where you buy it is up to you." "Well, I don't think it's proper to make such a decision without giving the board a chance to express an opinion." And I don't see why it should be made to take the responsibility." "I'm taking it." "What about the expenditure, which Reardon is charging less than Orrin Boyle's Associated Steel?" "Yes, and what about Orrin Boyle?" "I've canceled the contract. We had the right to cancel it 6 months ago." When did you do that?" "Yesterday." But he hasn't called to have me confirm it." "He won't." Taggart sat looking down at his desk. She wondered why he resented the necessity of dealing with Reardon, and why his resentment had such an odd, evasive quality. Reardon Steel had been the chief supplier of Taggart Transcontinental for 10 years, ever since the first Reardon furnace was fired. In the days when their father was president of the railroad, for 10 years, most of their rail had come from Reardon Steel. There were not many firms in the country who delivered what was ordered, when and as ordered. Reardon Steel was one of them. If she were insane, thought Dagny, she would conclude that her brother hated to deal with the Reardon because Reardon did his job with hold on. Okay. I got the sticky out of my mouth. Okay, so it's hard to do it when you get it from the mouth. Okay. She would not. she would conclude that her brother hated to deal with Reardon because Reardon did his job with superlative efficiency. But she would not conclude it because she thought that such a feeling was not within humanly possible. "It isn't fair," said James Taggart.
What isn't?
"That we always give all our business to Reardon. It seems to me we should give somebody else a chance too. Reardon doesn't need us. He's plenty big enough. We ought to help the smaller fellows to develop. Otherwise, we're just encouraging a monopoly."
Don't talk tripe, Jim.
"Well, why do you always have to get things from Reardon?"
Because we always get them.
"I don't like Henry Reardon."
I do. But what does that matter? One way or the other, we need rails, and he's the only one who can give them to us.
"The human element is very important. You have no sense of the human element at all."
We're talking about saving a railroad, Jim.
Yes, of course, but still, you haven't any sense of the human element."
No, I haven't.
"If we give Reardon such a large order for steel rails..."
They're not going to be steel. They're Reardon metal.
She always had avoided personal reactions, but she was forced to break her rule when she saw the expression on Taggart's face. She burst out laughing. Reardon metal was a new alloy produced by Reardon after 10 years of experiments. He had placed it on the market recently. He had received no orders and had found no customers. Taggart could not understand the transition from the laughter to the sudden tone of Dagny's voice. The voice was cold and harsh.
Drop it, Jim. I know everything I'm going to say. Nobody's ever used it before. Nobody approves of Reardon metal. Nobody's interested in it. Nobody wants it. Still, our rails are going to be made of Reardon metal.
"But," Taggart said, but nobody ever used it before." He observed with satisfaction that she was silenced by anger. He liked to observe emotions. They were like red lanterns strung along the dark unknown of another personality, marking vulnerable points. But how one could feel a personal emotion about a metal alloy, and what such an emotion indicated, was incomprehensible to him, so he could make no sense of his discovery. "The consensus of best metallurgical authorities," he said, "seems to be highly skeptical about Reardon metal, contending..."
Drop it, Jim.
Well, whose opinion did you take?"
I don't ask for opinions.
"Well, what do you go by?"
Judgment.
Whose judgment did you take?"
Mine.
"But whom did you consult about it?"
Nobody.
"Then what on earth do you know about Reardon metal?"
That it's the greatest thing ever put on the market.
"Why?"
Because it's tougher than steel, cheaper than steel, and it will outlast any hunk of metal in existence.
"But who says so?"
Jim, I studied engineering in college. When I see things, I see them.
"What did you see?"
Reardon's formula and the test he showed me.
"Well, if it were any good, somebody would have used it. And nobody has."
Well, he saw a flash of anger
and went on nervously. How can you know it's good? How can you be sure? How can you decide? Somebody decides just such things, Jim. Who? Well, I don't see why we have to be the first ones. I don't see it at all. Do you want to save the Rio Norte line or not? He did not answer. If the road could afford it, I would scrap every piece of rail over the whole. Oh. If the road could afford it, I would scrap every piece of rail over the whole system and replace it with reared metal. Oh. I'm sorry, that's Dagny talking. Okay. If the road could afford it, I would scrap every piece of rail over the whole system and replace it with reared metal. All of it needs replacing. None of it will last much longer. But we can't afford it. We have to get out of a bad hole first. Do you want us to pull through or not? We're still the best railroad in the We're still the best railroad in the country. The others are doing much worse. Then do you want us to remain in the hole? I haven't said that. Why do you always oversimplify things that way? And you're worried about money. I don't see why you want to waste it on the Rio Norte line when the Phoenix Durango has robbed us of all our business down there. Why spend money when we have no protections against a competitor who will destroy all our investment? Because the Phoenix Durango is an excellent railroad, but I intend to make the Rio Norte line a better one, better than that. Because I'm going to beat the Phoenix Durango, if necessary. Only it won't be necessary, because there will be room for 2 or 3 railroads to make fortunes in Colorado. Because I'd mortgaged the system to build a branch to any district around Ellis Wyatt. I'm sick of hearing about Ellis Wyatt. He did not like the way her eyes moved to look at him and remained still, looking forward for a moment. I don't see any need for immediate action, he said. He sounded offended. Just what do you consider so alarming in the present situation of Taggart Transcontinental? The consequences of your policies, Jim. Which policies? That 13-month experiment with Associated Steel. For one, your Mexican catastrophe. For another. The board approved the Associated Steel contract, he said hastily. The board voted to build the San Sebastian line. Besides, I don't see why you'd call it a catastrophe. Because the Mexican government is going to nationalize your line any day now. Oh, I got the voices backwards. Okay. Oh, yeah, see. Because the Mexican, I don't see why you call it a catastrophe. Because the Mexican, I don't see why you call it a catastrophe. Yeah, see, the board voted to build the San Sebastian line. Besides, I don't see why you call it a catastrophe. That's the right way to do it, okay. Because the Mexican government is going to nationalize your line any day now. That's a lie. his voice almost a scream. All right, I gotta do it right. That's a lie! His voice almost a scream. That's nothing but vicious rumors. I have it on very good inside authority that...
Don't show that you're scared, Jim,
she said contemptuously. He did not answer.
It's no use getting panicky about it now,
she said.
All we can do is try to cushion the blow. And it's going to be a bad blow. $40 million is a loss from which we won't recover easily. But Taggart Transcontinental has withstood many bad shocks in the past. I'll see to it that it withstands this one.
Now, I think this is Taggart here talking. I refuse to consider. I absolutely refuse to consider the possibility of the San Sebastian line being nationalized.
All right, don't consider it.
She remained silent. He said defensively, I don't see why you're so eager to give a chance to Ellis Wyatt. Yet you think it's wrong to take part in developing an underprivileged country that's never had a chance.
Ellis Wyatt is not asking anybody to give him a chance, and I'm not in business to give chances. I'm running a railroad.
That's an extremely narrow view. It seems to me. Why? I don't see why we should want to help one man instead of a whole nation.
I'm not interested in helping anybody. I want to make...
Oh, I got it backwards again.
That's an extremely narrow view. It seems to me I don't see why we should want to help one man instead of a whole nation.
I'm not interested in helping anybody. I want to make money.
That's an impractical attitude. Selfish greed for profit is a thing of the past. It has been generally concluded that the interests of society as a whole must always be placed first in any business undertaking which...
Oh, that's him talking. That's Jim talking. See, I got it all goofed up. Got it all goofed up. See, this is why you got to read forward if you're going to do this with the multiple voices like a script or scripted, whatever. It takes time to prepare. But no, I don't get time to prepare. You know, do I ever get any time of my own? No. Well, you know, the time of my own is spent compensated for not being able to be prepared for the stuff I'm trying to do. See, because I don't get enough time to do what I want to do because everybody wants me. You people, all of you out there want me to do their stupid shit for free and for nothing, for very little money or compensation or very little respect and very little thanks afterwards. And you wonder why I'm so angry at the world. You know, the source of my anger is you, the world itself. Society, commerce, the whole thing, war, people stabbing each other, people stealing from each other. Do you understand? The dividing line between continuing or not continuing is in your hands. And personally, I could give a rat's ass whether it comes or goes. I mean, I love everything and love everyone and every all of life that caused life. By the way, that's life. The meaning of life is to live and to live in love. But so far, I've not had enough love to compensate for all the hate that I've seen. Okay? That's the bottom line. There's too much of an imbalance. Okay, so now try to get back to this. Try to get back to this again. Try to get the voices right. Okay, he said defensively, I don't see why you're so eager to give a chance to Ellis Wyatt. Yet you think it's wrong to take part in a developing and underprivileged country that never had a chance. Ellis Wyatt is not asking anybody to give him a chance. And I'm not in business to give chances. I'm running a railroad. Yeah, so that's an extremely narrow view. It seems to me. I don't see why we should want to help one man instead of a whole nation. I'm not interested in helping anybody. I want to make money. That's an impractical attitude. Selfish greed for profit is a thing of the past. It has been generally conceded that the interests of society as a whole must always be placed first in any business undertaking, which... How long do you intend to talk in order to evade the issue, Jim? What issue? The order for weird metal. He did not answer. He sat studying her silently, her slender body about to slump from exhaustion was held erect by the straight line of the shoulders, and the shoulders were held by a conscious effort of will. Few people liked her face. The face was too cold, the eyes too intense. Nothing could ever lend her the charm of a soft focus. The beautiful legs slanting down from the chair's arm in the center of his vision annoyed him. They spoiled the rest of his estimate. She remained silent. He was forced to ask, Did you decide to order just like that, on the spur of the moment, over a telephone? I decided 6 months ago for Hank Reardon to get ready to go into production. Don't call him Hank Reardon. It's vulgar. That's what everybody calls him. Don't change the subject. Why did you have to telephone him last night? Couldn't reach him sooner. Why didn't you wait till you got back to New York? And because I had seen the Rio Norte line. Well, I need time to consider it, to place the matter before the board, to consult the best. There's no time. You haven't given me a chance to inform it. You haven't given me a chance to form an opinion. I don't give a damn about your opinion. I'm not going to argue with you. You're bored. With your professors. You have a choice to make. You're going to make it now. Just say yes or no. That's a preposterous, high-handed, arbitrary will. Say yes or no. That's the trouble with you. You always make it yes or no. Things are never absolute like that. Nothing's absolute. Metal rails are. Whether we get them or not, is. She waited. He did not answer her. Well, she asked, Are you taking responsibility for it? I am. Go ahead, he said, and added, but at your own risk. I won't cancel it, but I won't commit myself to what I'll say the board. But I won't commit myself to what I'll say to the board. Say anything you wish. She rose to go. He leaned forward across the desk, reluctant to end the interview and to end it so decisively. You realize, of course, that a lengthy procedure will be necessary to put this through, he said. The words sounded almost hopeful. It isn't as simple as that. Oh, sure, she said. I'll send you a detailed report, which Eddie will prepare and which you won't read. Eddie will help you put it through the works. I'm going to Philadelphia tonight to see Reardon. He and I have a lot of work to do, she added. It's as simple as that, Jim. She turned to go. When he spoke again, and what he said seemed bewilderingly irrelevant. That's all right for you, because you're lucky. Others can do it. Do what? Other people are human. They're sensitive. They can't devote their whole life to metals and engines. You're lucky. You've never had any feelings. You've never felt anything at all. As she looked at him, her dark gray eyes went slowly from astonishment to stillness, then to a strange expression that resembled a look of weariness. Excuse me. Except that it seemed to reflect much more than the endurance of this moment. No, Jim, she said quietly. I guess I've never felt anything at all. Eddie Willers followed her to her office. Whenever she returned, he felt as if the world became a clear, simple, easy to face. Clear, simple, and easy. That's a comma. I'm trying to put words in this thing. My eyes are fuzzing up here on me. Okay. Okay. Good. What I'm planning to go back in and edit all these things. End up editing them. All this goofy stuff. All it can be edited out later. Okay. Because I'm not going to leave it. I can't. All right. So now, anyway, where was I? Okay. Whenever she returned, he felt as if the world became a clear, simple, easy to face, and he forgot his moments of shapeless apprehension. He was the only person who found it completely natural that she would be the operating vice president of a great railroad, even though she was a woman. She had told him when he was 10 years old that she would run the railroad someday. It did not astonish him now, just as it had not astonished him that day in the clearing of the woods. When they entered her office, when he saw her sit down at the desk and glanced at the memos he had left for her. He felt as he did in his car when the motor caught on the wheels could move forward. Huh? How's that word? He felt as if he did in his car when the motor caught on the wheels could move forward. Okay, she was Russian. That's a pretty weird sentence. Okay, anyway, moving on. That's how it's worded. Okay. He was about to leave her office when he remembered a matter he had not reported. Owen Kellogg of the Terminal Division has asked me for an appointment to see you, he said. She looked up, astonished. That's fun. That's funny. I was going to send for him. Have him come up. I want to see him, Eddie. She added suddenly, before I start, tell him to get me Ayers of the Ayers Music Publishing Company on the phone. The music publishing company? He replied incredulously. Yes, there's something I want to ask him. When the voice of Mr. Ayers, courteously eager, inquired of what service he could be to her, she asked, can you tell me whether Richard Haley has written a new piano concerto? The fifth concerto. No, we need a new voice. Fifth concerto. Okay, who was this voice going to be like? It's going to be the telephone voice. Fifth concerto. Fifth concerto. A fifth concerto. Fifth concerto. I know. A fifth concerto. I know. That's a good voice for him. Okay. How about like a Jimmy Durante? Okay, a fifth. Jimmy Durante. Or yeah. Or no, that would be the Wonderful Life guy. Oh no. Oh, how about W.C. Fields? I guess. Okay. Let's try it with W.C. Fields. A fifth concerto, Miss Taggart? Why, no, of course he hasn't. Are you sure? Quite sure, Miss Taggart. He has not written anything for 8 years. Is he still alive? Why, yes. That is, I can't say for certain. He has dropped out of public life entirety, but I'm sure we would have heard of it if he had died. If he had died. Well, if he wrote anything, would you know about it? Of course. He would be the first to know. We would be the first to know. We publish all of his work, but he has stopped writing. Oh, I see. Well, thank you. I see. Thank you. When Owen Kellogg entered her office, she looked at him with satisfaction. She was glad to see that she had been right in her vague recollection of his appearance. His face had the same quality as that of a young brakesman on the train, the face of the kind of man with whom she could deal. Sit down, Mr. Kellogg, she said, but he remained standing in front of her desk. Need a new voice now? You'd asked me once about this voice. You had asked me once.
To let you know if I'd ever decided to change my employment, Miss Taggart, he said. So I came to tell you that I'm quitting.
She hadn't expected anything but that. It took her a moment before she asked quietly, "Why?"
For personal reasons.
Were you dissatisfied here?
No,
Have you received a better offer?
no,
What railroad are you going to?
I'm not going to any railroad, Miss Taggart.
Then what job are you taking?
I've not decided that yet.
She studied him, feeling slightly uneasy. There was no hostility in his There was no hostility in his face. He looked straight at her. He answered simply, directly. He spoke like one who has nothing to hide or to show. The face was polite and empty.
Then why should you wish? Then why should you wish to quit?
It's a personal matter.
Are you ill? Is it a question of your health?
No,
Are you leaving the city?
no,
Have you inherited money that permits you to retire?
no,
Do you intend to continue working for a living?
yes.
But you do not wish to work for Taggart Transcontinental?
No,
In that case, something must have happened here to cause your decision. What?
nothing, Miss Taggart.
I wish you'd tell me. I have a reason for wanting to know.
Would you take my word for it, Miss Taggart?
Yes?
No person, matter, or event connected with my job here had any bearing on my decision.
You have no specific complaint against Taggart Transcontinental? You have no specific complaint against Taggart Transcontinental?
None.
Then I think you might reconsider when you're here. I think you might reconsider when you hear what I have to offer you.
I'm sorry, Miss Taggart. I can't.
May I tell you what I have in mind?
Yes, if you wish.
Would you take my word for it that I decided to offer you the post I'm going to offer before you ask me? I want you to know that.
I will always take your word, Miss Taggart.
It's the post of Superintendent of the Ohio Division. It's yours if you want it.
His face showed no reaction, as if words had more significance for him than the savage who never heard of railroads.
I don't want it, Miss Taggart,
he answered. After a moment, she said, her voice tight.
Write your own ticket, Kellogg. Name your price. I want you to stay. I can match anything, any offer other railroad offers you.
I'm not going to work for any other railroad.
I thought you loved your work.
This was the first sign of emotion in him, just a slight widening of his eyes and an oddly quiet emphasis in his voice when he answered,
I do.
Then tell me what it is that I should say in order to hold you.
It had been involuntary and so obviously frank that he looked at her as if it had reached him.
Perhaps I'm being unfair by coming here to tell you that I'm quitting, Miss Taggart. I know that you asked me to tell you because you wanted to have a chance to make me a counteroffer. So if I came, it looks as if I'm open to a deal, but I'm not. I only came because I wanted to keep my word to you. That one break in his voice was like a sudden flash that told her how much her interest in her request had meant to him, and that his decision had not been an easy one to make.
Kellogg, is there nothing I can offer you?
She asked. Nothing, Miss Taggart. Nothing on earth. He turned to go. For the first time in her life, she felt helpless and beaten.
Why?
She asked, not addressing him. He stopped. He shrugged and smiled. He was alive for a moment, and it was the strangest smile she had ever seen. It held the secret amusement and heartbreak of an infinite bitterness. He answered, "Who's John Galt?" That's it. That's the end of part 4, episode 4. We're into the next chapter now. That's the end of chapter 1. 4 parts. Next chapter is the chain. We will pick up on this next Sunday. So, what we're going to do now is close the book. We get some clear tape to tape this up and fix this up. In the meantime, though, let's fold it so it don't get more damaged. And then fold it in the book. Put it right there. Set it aside. Set it aside. Set it aside. Okay. Okay, anyway, thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, subscribe, like, tweet, comment, subscribe, like, tweet, all that stuff. And old Master Jukes is everywhere. Oh, wait a minute. We're not going to do that. Okay. Okay, so
There must be some way out of it. Send the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. There must be some way out of it. Send the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. I can't get no relief. Business, 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 businessman coming, businessman coming to my wife. There must be, there must be some way out of him. Send the joker to the thief. There's too much confusion. Can't get no relief. No reason to get excited. The thief is Oh, I like that one. Here. Yeah, I'd like that. We might get that back out and use it. Get it back out, meaning get it back off the live feed and use it. Okay, that's it. See you later. Bye. We're going to end now. Bye. See ya. Bye.